Hey guys, Eddie Wilson here on the Think Realty podcast. So glad you decided to join us today. It's always our privilege to host you and to participate in your investing journey. We've got a great guest today that I know you'll recognize once we bring him on here in just a second. But before we do that, let me say a quick thank you to our property management sponsor, Real Property Management. Real property managers should put more money in your pocket than take them out. And if your property manager is not doing that, and you're tired of self-managing, or whatever the case may be, go check out Real Property Management at realpropertymgt.com. We have a guest on the show today, and it's Greg Slaughter. Thanks for being on the show today.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
So Greg is a resident expert. He's been on the Think Realty platform forever. It feels like you've been speaking at our events for a long time, and just have been a great help and a source for our real estate investors. And I appreciate everything you've done for Think Realty.
Oh, my pleasure. I enjoy it. It's a blast. That's what I love to do, is to teach and help people. So.
Yeah. Very cool. So let's kind of jump in. I have no notes, so I'm just winging this today, and so
that makes two of us.
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask Greg questions that I want him to answer for me, and I hope you enjoy it. How's that? But no, I look at the market today, and I watch so many people that are running in fear. They're terrified, or they're just like, they're paralyzed, or they're running away from something. And I've watched you for years run into a situation that a lot of people would run from. You invested in an area that no one wanted to invest in. You took on tenants that nobody wanted to manage. You did it in time periods where nobody else was investing. And so I think you could help all of us with, what mindset do you need to have as you're investing in times like this, where there's rate volatility and hard to find deals and all of that?
Well, my strategy is always I like to call it, go for the low-hanging fruit. Mm-hmm. And so I don't really follow what everybody else is doing. I'm kind of looking at what the market is telling me.
Right.
And so, for example, obviously I was investing in a lot of properties in Indiana. When I first went there, everybody told me I was nuts. Even the locals told me I was nuts. Everybody said I was nuts. But to me, I saw the opportunity, and I think the most money is literally when markets change and when markets turn. So I saw the opportunity, and now I'm getting out and out of that market, because now everybody and their brother was in that market. So that's when I started phasing out.
Yeah.
So I guess the mindset is, I just constantly look at where the opportunities are, or where they're coming. So I've been telling everybody to do seller finance literally for about the last year and a half, because I saw that whole market coming. But I've switched in the last 30 to 45 days, particularly because I'm in the Phoenix market. In the Phoenix market, we are already seeing it's starting to rebound. So we've had 2.5 months in a row where our reports are showing that the market. So this is the market. Like, I'm not fixing and flipping anymore.
Sure.
But if I was, for a year and a half, I've been telling everybody, stop fixing and flipping.
Right.
Now I'm doing the exact opposite. Now is when you get in, because you can ride that early wave up.
Sure.
So if I'm picking up in real estate in Phoenix right now, I'd be getting back in a fix and flip right now, because that's when you can really make your serious gains.
Yeah. And this is the strength of somebody who's been in real estate for a long time. Like a lot of the people that you guys are listening to on podcast and social media that have been doing this for 2 or 3 years, and they're driving their expensive cars and flying on their jets. Like, you don't understand, like they don't necessarily know the game, and what you just said was a depth of knowledge from not just like doing it, but doing it over a long period of time. Like, how long have you been investing?
Well, I've wanted to invest since when I went to my first real estate conference in 1986.
Wow.
But I got my first investment property in 1999. So there's a 13-year gap there. But I've been managing rental properties and fixing and flipping everything since 1999.
Wow. So 1999 really was when you first heavily got involved. And so you're, what is that, 24 years now?
Yeah. I tried to get involved and do my first deal in 1986, but I was 19 years old. I was a young kid.
Right.
I spent all my money on the conference. I was trying to put together a nothing down deal at the time that nobody ever heard of, because I just went to Robert Allen's Nothing Down and
read the book.
Read the book. I'm going to conquer the world. I did put a deal together, but it wasn't completely nothing down. I needed a little bit of money. I had no money. None of my friends had money, because they were drinking their money. And I couldn't come up with the money. So I got discouraged and
Right.
There was a 13-year gap before I got back into it.
Wow.
And my first property was actually when I got relocated. I was in corporate America and I got relocated from Las Vegas to Phoenix. And so I was like, this is the time to get back into it because I always wanted to do this. So that was our first rental property. It was basically a house that we lived in for 5 years, and I just converted it over.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And after about 3 months of that, I was like, okay, I'm all in. It was like going right back to 1986 when I was in Conquer the World. I literally, within about 60 days later, put in a 1-year notice to my corporate America job, and I was out a year later.
1 year notice?
I gave them a 1-year notice, literally a 1-year notice.
Putting you on notice for 1 year.
And they didn't believe me.
Can you tell my employees that? No more 2-week notice. Can you give me a 1-year notice? That's great.
I wish I could tell my own employees that, Can I get at least 1 hour notice, please?
That's so funny. A 1-year notice. I've never heard of that before. So you gave them a 1-year notice, and then you start investing in real estate because within a year you're going to be all in. I mean, you're crushing it. So
wow. When I left, I was all in. It was like I was going to succeed, or I was going to be living under a bridge until I succeeded. I mean, literally, that was my mindset.
Wow.
I mean, I left a good job, good perks. I had a company car and all these vacations. I had all kinds of perks. I walked away from all of it.
Well, so how's that served you?
Oh, well, yeah. It didn't serve me well then because we almost got divorced. Kim wasn't very happy about all that. We fought like cats and dogs. But at that point in time, I was like, I'm not doing something I hate for the rest of my life.
Right.
I can't do this.
Yeah.
This is what I love. This is what I want to do. And I'm doing it. So either you get on the bus or the bus is leaving you behind. That's literally the conversation that we had.
We should bring Kim in for this podcast and see if there's another side of this story.
Now, she'll confirm that because we talk about it. So we talked about it several times. And looking back and think it's funny. But at the time, it was like, there was no change in my mind. Now, I was really willing to sacrifice everything because I was done with corporate America. I was done.
So play that out for some of the people that don't know you or haven't heard you speak. I mean, like, where are you at today on that journey? I mean, other than I only know that you like travel the world and we're in Antarctica and going to South Africa and you pretty much spend your whole life on vacation. But like, tell us where you're at today.
All right. So I real estate wise, I did very well from '99 to 2006. My goal was to become a millionaire.
Yeah.
I accomplished that goal. Thought I was on top of the world. And then the market crashed and kicked my ass, basically, is what happened. And we ended up filing for bankruptcy. We had to start over from nothing in 2010 when we filed for bankruptcy. And up to that point, I was one of those where I had such a drive where there was nothing going to stop me. I mean, that's why I left corporate America, right? And that was so narrow focus. So I did so many sacrifices in my life. I sacrificed relationships, the things I did. I never went on vacation. I was the exact opposite person that you know me today. I was literally, I was a typical entrepreneur.
You're basically me.
I was a typical entrepreneur where they only see what's right in front of them, and I got to get to that. And they live for that. I like to call it the someday life. I was living for someday, right? Someday I'll take those vacations, and someday I'll have the relationship.
Oh, that's not me. I'm not even interested.
It's like you put the relationship on the back burner because she'll appreciate it and respect it later.
Someday
she'll love it. She'll love it. She just doesn't understand why I'm doing this because I'm doing it for her and the family, right? It was that mentality. Well, that really kicked me in the butt because when we filed for bankruptcy, I had to sit there and think, well, I just spent 20 years with all these sacrifices, and I can't get any lower than this. I'm bankrupt. I have no money. We're borrowing money from my parents for a security deposit on a rental property. My relationship is a mess. I mean, we were basically nothing more than roommates. I mean, we barely saw each other. We were just like crisscrossing each other in the house. That was it. I had really no friends. I had no hobbies. I literally, my whole life was just went down the toilet. So I was like, I got to do something different. I can't spend another 20 years for that to happen again. So at that point in time, I was like, you know what? I'm not willing to make any sacrifices. I'm not going that route anymore. So I sat down and I said, how can I create a life where I can have a successful business, create the financial freedom that I do want, but at the same time, create a life that I love, where I have a great relationship, where I do travel the world, and I can do all of it at the same time. I had no idea how to do that, and I didn't know how I was going to do it, but my mindset was, I'm going to do it, and that's literally what I did. So I put myself in the mindset, and that's what I did. So I set a goals where I'm going to travel through all 7 continents and all 50 states, and we would have been done with that goal if it wasn't for COVID. But we just did Antarctica. We're doing Africa next month. I'm financially free. I don't have to work. I mean, I'm not the richest person in the world, but I don't care. I have my freedom. I can do what I want, when I want, with whoever I want, wherever I want. I don't care. I get up, I do whatever I want. And I have a great relationship. I have lots of good friends. and I really enjoy life, and I'm doing what I love. So
that's awesome.
I think it served me well.
It did serve you very, very well. Yeah. I think that's important because I love when you tell that story, and I've heard you tell that so many times, because I think sometimes people get stuck exactly what you're talking about. It's like that someday life, you know? Right. And they're playing for this game down the road, but they forget to live in the moment too.
Right.
And the fact that you did that, and I know that you're helping a lot of investors now try to find that in their own life. And I know that's kind of like your legacy piece is now kind of looking back and go, okay, who wants to take that journey? Because you'll help them architect it.
Right, absolutely. That's my passion.
Yeah.
That is my legacy. And I'm doing something I don't even care if I get paid for. I mean, money's always good, don't get me wrong, but it's when you're doing something that you love, and I love helping people do that journey. Yeah. I was helping people how to invest in real estate and with property management, and I still do that, that's a business. But this, what I was seeing was, as I was helping those individuals, they were doing the same thing I was doing. I could see it in them. They were sacrificing their relationships. They had no health, or they had bad health. They had no hobbies. They had no fun. They had no joy. And it was like it kept taking me back to where I was before that. And what I realized in 2010 when I filed for bankruptcy is like, so I started like just helping them on the side, and I started noticing, man, they're getting the same results I was getting, and I created like this 5-step system, and so I can make it teachable, and I systemize everything. I mean, that's kind of what I'm known for, is the systems guy, right? So I put it all into a system, and then I started sharing that with them, and they started getting results. I'm like, holy crap, this didn't just work for me, this worked for other people. So now that's what I do. So now I basically share that 5-step process, and I help people through that. And I show them how to have an extremely successful business, but at the same time, create a life that you love. You don't need to make a sacrifice.
Sure.
My saying is, live your someday now.
I love it. That's awesome. And I think if there's anybody watching, this resonates deeply with most people, because they so desire what you have, but really don't have a clear path on how to get there, right? They have the feeling, they have the emotion tied to it. I mean, I can't tell you how many investors I talk to all the time, and they're just so overwhelmed right now. They're just like, I'm just going to put in more time. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to, and they're just trying to get to this place. The thing too is I think, and I don't know your complete 5-step system, but I do know some of the people you're trying to help, and it's like a part of it is resetting. I assume it's resetting your expectations of what you actually need to accomplish. Because in the end, it's like I think people, they just look at social media and they go, okay, well that guy has a Ferrari, and that guy has a jet, and that guy has a beach house, and so it's like I got to have all this before I'm actually happy. And I think that's the thing that I've enjoyed watching you and Kim, is that you kind of create your own happiness. You know what makes you happy. You guys love to travel, right? And you do it in a very amazing way. But you're not, it's like you don't care if you have a Ferrari or not. Like you'd much rather go to Antarctica, right? Or Argentina, or wherever you just were, and it's like, so how can they understand or get to see some of the processes that you build?
Well, I give away my 5-step process for free. So it's literally, they can just go to my website and download it. It's for free. Okay.
Which is just gregslaughter.com.
Yeah, just gregslaughter.com. You go right there on the website, and you can just download it. My goal is to give away 1 million copies of that. So
that's
like
awesome.
I said, I'm just giving it away. I just want to get it out there and help as many people as I can. And that's the irony in this is, you mentioned, like, I call it the cheat code. And the reason I call it the cheat code is cheat is an acronym for the 5 steps. So it's literally an acronym. And step 1 is create extreme clarity. As I talk to people, most people don't have clarity. They think they have clarity, but you actually ask them, like if I ask them, what do you really want in a relationship? They'll give me the generic answer, but they haven't really deeply thought into it. And one of my favorite ones is when I ask them, was like, why are you in this business? They have no clue why they're in that business. So they'll give me an answer, but I know there's
financial freedom.
There's only Well, the's only 3 reasons to have a business, in my opinion. There's only three reasons, and 3 reasons only. So either 1, you're doing it because it really is your passion. But a lot of people kid themselves because they'll tell it, well, it's because of what I enjoy doing. So then I'll ask them back, okay, so if you had $100 million in your bank right now, would you still be doing it? And they're like, oh, okay, well then you're not really passionate about it, right? So if you're truly, like, I love helping people, I would do this for free. And that's why I'm giving this away for free. So because this is truly my passion. And so either that, or number 2, they're trying to change the world. Those would be like the Elon Musk or the Bill Gates or whatever, and that's very few entrepreneurs. The third one, where 99% of it fall under, is, and what they don't realize is that the only reason to have a business is to serve you and your family. It's to put food on your table, right? To pay your bills, to create the lifestyle, to give you the freedom that you want.
Sure.
That's the real reason people have businesses.
People are afraid to admit to that because I think it's like
they think it's selfish.
It's selfish, yeah. And so they say, well, I mean, I can't tell you how many times like I coach businesses on Empire and stuff, and I'll say, you tell me why you do this, and that, well, I do this because I love my employees, I love or this is my favorite thing. It's like no. So like until they admit that they actually want the outcome, which is money, which and they won't say it. It's like, and I say the same thing. Oh, so if you had to work a second job in order to do this job, you'd be okay with it? Well, no. Well, so it is about money. Like it's like, and so I 100% agree with you. It's just like they don't want to come across as selfish and actually admit it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's obviously a big part about money. It's also a big part. A lot of people want to do it because they think they're going to have this freedom, right? I don't have to do the 9-to-5 job now. Yeah. That's why I love corporate America.
Now I'm going to do 8 to 7.
Yeah, exactly. And have a worse boss.
Yeah.
But than you had previously.
Right.
So, but they got. I mean, it's amazing. Like this one couple I was helping, they were extremely successful. They owned a chiropractic office, a husband and wife team, but they were working literally 90 to 100 hours a week. Had this huge staff, making good money, but they were miserable. They had no life, absolutely zero life. And so I helped them create clarity, or they came to clarity on their own. And once they create clarity and they understood, it's like, you know what? This is to serve your life, right?
Yeah, right.
The business serves you. You don't serve the business.
Right.
So after that, what they did is they actually more or less sold that big business and at the same time opened up another chiropractic office. But this time they had no staff. It was just the two of them. And they decided that, you know what? We only want to work 30 hours a week. So they went from working 90 to 100 hours a week to 30 hours a week. And they set the exact time, and they only work with very particular clients.
Wow.
And now they have the other off time he loves to golf, so he golfs, and she loves to ride horses, so she does horses. So they created a life that they love.
Right.
The next question I always get is, well, what happened to their finances? Because it's entrepreneur, oh my God, they must not make any money. Why? Do you know that at the end of 12 months, their finances, they lost their net profit to them was only 10% less. 10% less than that entire business working 90 to 100 hours.
To gain about 60% of their time
So
back.
how many people would be willing to take a 10% reduction
to get 60% of their time back?
To have a life that you love. But the story gets better. 12 months later, they're making more money than they were in the big office, working 30 hours a week, doing what they love.
Jeez.
That's what I love to teach.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you don't need to work 90 to 100 hours a week. You don't. It's a myth. It really is a myth. The business is to serve you. You're not supposed to be serving the business.
I love it. That's awesome. Man, if you're not already challenged, if you're not hearing this and it's not like burning inside of you, I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, I spend a lot of my time architecting the right path for my life because I'm the second one. I want to change the world,
Right.
And it's like, and everything I do is tied to these purpose type things. But it's like, but still, every entrepreneur still needs that check. I need that check, right? Like, I mean, like you're sitting there thinking, there's a couple things I need, clarity in my life. Like there are elements that I just let creep in. We do, that. It's we all need that, and if you're listening, it's like, and you don't take advantage of this, you don't go to gregslaughter.com, and you don't get his 5 steps, like, then it's on you. Like I always say that's like, we put all these conferences on. They want to learn about real estate, and I always tell people, if you're going to ask me for money or ask me for deals, and you're not willing to come to the conference that I spend a ton of time putting on, or read the magazine that I spend a lot of money putting out, stop texting me. It's pointless. But anyways.
Yeah. Well, you'll appreciate this. I actually like to call it the operating system of life.
That's awesome.
Right? Because Empire is obviously the operating system for businesses, so I like to call this operating system for life.
I love it. Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, and the thing is until you create clarity, like you do not know what you're architecting to. In the operating system in business, our first step is, you have to understand the foundation of business, but past that is creating a clear pathway or clarity around where we're headed. And if we all aren't on that same team, then we're not pulling the same rope, then we're not going to get there,
Exactly.
That's really, really cool. Well, awesome. We are actually out of time. Like, that was really, really good.
I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
We got 4 more steps.
So sorry, cliffhanger. You got to get the other 4 steps on the website, but thankfully it's free. Are you teaching here at all at Think Really?
I'm on a panel. I'm on a fix and flip panel.
Okay.
So
and then you're probably teaching as a resident expert in Tampa?
I'll be actually on this because this is my passion.
Oh, cool.
So I'll be teaching on this in Tampa.
Oh, that's awesome. Very, very cool. So you can actually go watch them teach it live in Tampa. If you're not coming to Tampa, make sure you get your tickets for Tampa. And that's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Super encouraging. Really, really good. Good
goes
stuff.
by in like 60 seconds.
I know.
We just sat down.
It was so good. Thank you very, very much. Think Realty, thank you so much for being a part of our world. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day, downloading the podcast. If you don't mind, subscribe both to the podcast channel, but also if you're not part of our subscription on YouTube, we put a lot more content for our resident experts and all that on YouTube as well. So go to YouTube. And then join us on all the social channels, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We put a lot of content out there. We want to hear back from you. What we want more than anything is feedback. We want to know, did what Greg just talked about resonate with you? What more do you want to hear? What information are you looking for? Because we exist to really help you in your real estate investing journey. Thank you so much to Real Property Management for sponsoring the podcast. Real Property Management, you can find more about them at Real Property MGT, realpropertymgt.com. If you're not satisfied with your current property manager or you're tired of self-managing, you can always give them a try. And I want to thank them for always being a great podcast sponsor. Also, if you want to come to the Tampa event, hear Greg speak, I want to give you a quick code to get a buy one, get one. If you use the code PODCAST, we give you a buy one, get one free on that. You can grab a friend, you can grab a neighbor, you can grab your spouse, or like me, I like to get my children involved, so bring a son or a daughter along for the journey so that they learn this amazing opportunity that we have as Americans to invest in real estate, find the freedom and lifestyle we want. But even more than that, you get to hear about the operating system of life through Greg at the event. So I hope to see you there. Jump on thinkrealty.com, get your tickets for Tampa, and we'll see you in Tampa.